Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. A black female restaurant owner died in her sleep after working for 7 days a week. Now, Kea Cole was a owner of QC Kitchen, and she wound up passing away in her sleep after working 7 days a week at her restaurant QC Kitchen. And after working 7 days a week at her restaurant QC Kitchen, she posted on Facebook that she needed her rest and was taking some days off. And after taking 3 days off, she was found dead in her home, dying in her sleep. And her demise has a lot of people wondering why many people don't take rest and wind up overworking. Now, this was a story that really related to me because I have been dealing with my own issues as related to stress, as related to overworking, and it's easy to wind up overworking when you're your own business owner because you believe that you have to do everything yourself. And in a lot of cases, when you are starting out your small business, you are doing everything yourself. And that type of stress can take a toll on a person over time. That type of stress basically is with you every day. And it's with you every day because you feel this pressure to go out here and continue to perform to a high standard. And as you're looking to try to maintain the standards that you've established, what happens is you're continuing to try to do a lot of the work yourself. Sometimes you wind up having to do that work yourself because you are the business in the beginning. You are the one who basically is the one who is making sure everything is done. And that type of pressure over time can basically wear a person down, and a person won't even know that they are being worn down by this stress. They don't know that the stress is basically getting to them, and that the stress is basically, it can just again bog you down because you're just trying to keep going. You're trying to keep driving as related to keeping your business going. And that's what I believe happened here to Kea Cole as she was working at QC Kitchen. What happened to Kea Cole as she was working at QC Kitchen was that this was her business and she was trying to keep it going. And as she was trying to keep it going, what she was doing was trying to do everything on her own and had so many high expectations of herself that she basically did not give herself a break because what she was hoping to do was keep the business going in an effort to try to get to the point of a big break. She was hoping to get to the point where she could get to that big break where she could go out here and eventually make enough money to start delegating some tasks to some other people. That's what Quita was, I believe, trying to do as related to things. Moreover, I think that there was a little bit of black female pride in this whole situation that led to her being stressed because when it comes down to a lot of black women, again, they don't feel anything is done right unless they're doing it themselves. I just saw this in Chef Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares that I watched on Tubi a while back. There was a Louisiana kitchen where this black woman's mother was basically trying to do everything as related to cooking, and basically her pride kept her from being able to go out here and be able to, for the restaurant to function, because she was trying to do everything, and her daughter basically was trying to run the restaurant, but it was just not running right because they didn't understand that what Chef Ramsay said a long time ago, either you run the kitchen or the kitchen runs you. And what happens to a lot of people is that what happens is though the business starts running them instead of them running the business. And what happened here with Kea Cole is that she was basically, the business was running her, and it was running her so hard that she thought she had to work 7 days a week. She thought she had to work 7 days a week in order to maintain a level of high quality, and she thought things would not go right unless she was there. that's one of the things that many business owners like myself deal with. We feel like, again, things aren't going right if we're not there. And that is what makes a lot of us, again, as we're working at these businesses, start to get stressed and anxious. It makes us start to get stressed and anxious, and that's what drives a person as related to overworking. They start overworking because they just, again, trying to get things up to a certain standard, trying to get up to a level of success. That's what you're trying to do as related when you're working on your own business. I mean, this is what you do as you're working out here. That's why I said when I looked at this woman, I could really see myself as related to things that I've been doing here at the SJS Direct Imprint. I mean, one of the things when I first started out is, again, I'm starting out, I'm the only man, again, writing the stories. I'm the only man doing the page layouts. I'm the only man, even in the beginning, even doing the covers. I mean, you're trying to do everything because you're just trying to get the business off the ground. Now, this woman basically did get her business to start moving, but the whole thing is that she basically, again, was just pushing herself too hard. And that's something many people who own businesses do. You wind up pushing yourself very hard because you want to see yourself get this success. You want to see yourself get these results. You want to see yourself be able to make a living, because this is how you're going to live, how you're going to survive. But the irony is because you're pushing yourself so hard, you don't see how this business is killing you. You don't see how this business is killing you because you're dealing with, as you're trying to maintain your standards, you're dealing with all of this stress and pressure. You're dealing with all of the stress and pressure in an effort to try to please the customer. You're dealing with all the stress and pressure in trying to build your professional reputation. You're dealing with all of this effort to try to build your brand, and you're trying to do all of this in many cases on a shoestring budget and trying to, again, be able to cover your bills. Because when it comes to the restaurant business, like the publishing business, when it comes to this business, it just basically, you're living off razor thin profit margins, and you're trying to do everything in your power to please the customer and maximize sales. That's what happens when you're in business for yourself. You're basically trying to push everything. And what happens with people like Kea Cole and myself is that as you're pushing yourself, you're trying to do everything possibly to get things done, and you again look to forsake rest in the hopes of trying to get towards success. I mean, that's what I had been doing for many years, that as related to what I've been dealing with stress these days right now. I mean, I was working, again, I would do the YouTube videos in the afternoons, and I would be working, making 3-4 videos a day. And I was out here writing books, and then I was out here editing books. And as I was doing this, I didn't see how stress was bothering me as related to things. I would get these headaches when I would edit books. I would get this headache on the right side of my temple sometimes. And then as I was getting older, what I was starting to do was starting to have anxiety attacks, because I would work all the way until about 1:30 in the morning on writing books, as I was making videos in the afternoons. And again, I would work again for hours on end. And again, you don't see how the stress starts to get to you. But as that stress is getting to you, you don't see how your efforts to try to make a better life for yourself are killing you. And that's what I believe happened to Kea Cole. As again, she didn't see how her efforts to try to improve her life were killing her. And after working at the restaurant, again, she looked to again take this rest, but that rest proved to be her final rest, as she wound up taking a nap and then dying in her sleep because of all the stress of basically trying to run this business on her own. And that's something that God had talked to me about expecting too much from yourself. A lot of us expect a lot from ourselves because we don't believe we can trust someone else to go out here and take on the task that we delegate to them. And that's what I have run into when I was working on Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. There were a couple of artists they messed up, and again, just derailed the whole thing again, and that makes it where you become more stressed because you want to delegate tasks to people. And Kea Cole she possibly again was out here thinking, oh, I don't need someone, but she really did need to hire someone she could build some trust with. And again, with black-owned businesses, we run into this all the time. We run into this whole situation where we're trying to again get the business off the ground, try to build the relationship with the customer, and we're trying to find qualified employees to delegate tasks to. And sometimes it's hard to find those people, and again, who you can trust to go out here and say, as the owner, I'm going to take a day off. I'm going to take my Saturdays off or my days off, and then let them run the restaurant on those days. I mean, it becomes, again, it's hard to trust people as related to that whole situation, because people like in the black community and in the culinary business, because the culinary business, again, you got some guys who, again, you can't really teach them because they don't want to maintain standards, and that can overall hurt your business, again, because restaurant business is a razor thin profit margin. I mean, it's a razor thin profit margin, and when you get the whole thing is the wrong person can just basically mess up your business. So Quita was basically there trying to keep the business going and didn't have that person she could trust, did not have that head chef there who could be somebody you could delegate to and say, okay, on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday nights, basically, you're going to be the one in charge of the line. You're going to be the one who expedites the food. You're the one who's going to make sure the food is up to standard because I've trained you to my standard. I mean, that's what Gordon Ramsay talked about. That's related to his show, Hell's Kitchen. Again, people understanding the standard so that when you have these different restaurants, again, you can delegate the tasks. And she possibly didn't have those people there because, again, when you're in a business, it can basically, be where you have to be in charge of things. As again, she was trying to try to do everything around her, and again, that's not a good thing to be. I mean, I know this from my own personal experience. I mean, if I had the money and if I could make the money, I would be, delegating those tasks to other people, even delegating the writing to other people on certain books. I mean, if I could get the sales up, but I've had a rough, last 2 or 3 years where the books haven't been selling, and that's really been getting to me, not to mention the AdSense dollars really ain't coming in because the videos ain't getting the views. And again, that type of stress can really get to someone, and really get to someone and have them looking to push even harder. And as it has them pushing even harder, this is what leads to people having stress issues as related to exhaustion, because yes, your mind wants to push, but your body can't go anymore. Your mind wants to keep going, but your body just is saying, hey, no more of this. I've had enough. That's what your body is saying. But that when you're a business owner and you've got these pressures of bills, when you've got these pressures as related to trying to find a way to survive, this is the stress that has a person pushing themselves beyond their limits, because you need a way to make a living, and people just ain't buying like they used to, or you're trying to get the customers in. I can understand where this woman is coming from because I'm here myself, and I understand what can drive a person so hard. I understand what can drive a person so hard as related to pushing yourself beyond exhaustion. I mean, things have gotten to me, as I see it these days, that I just have to stop doing the live streams because, it was just too much on me. Your body can't keep doing this over a course of time. But in today's America, we want to say people are lazy. We want to say people aren't trying, but people are pushing themselves their hardest. They're doing the very best that they can. They're pushing themselves, beyond their limits. And sadly, this woman wound up dying because she pushed herself beyond her limits, all to try to make a living and try to survive. That's what this woman was looking to try to do. She was looking to try to get this business in a place where it could be in a certain place, where it could be a place, but the whole thing is she didn't have anybody to give her guidance and structure on running a restaurant, because when you're running a restaurant, you really do need to have people on the line who can come in and step in. This is something Gordon Ramsay presented in his show Hell's Kitchen, where he talks about, everybody knowing how to make the different things on his line, because each person needs to come in. If somebody is sick, you got to have somebody come in and fill in on the lines. Now, somebody's specialty may be meat, somebody's specialty may be appetizers, but the whole thing is, if they need you to step in, they need you to be able to step in and be able to, again, fill in if somebody gets sick or somebody has a day off. Again, fill in and be able to make sure that this food is up to standard. And again, I know that type of pressure because I went and looked to train in culinary arts. So again, I understand there's a lot of pressure to make sure that everything is right and on point. When you're out here doing some cooking, I know that there's a lot of pressure to get out here and again make sure that product is up to standard, because when you're out here it's a lot of pressure to get stuff done. This is something I could relate to because as a publisher and a writer, I have to deal with that same thing as here as being on YouTube making the videos. I mean, you have to make sure that the videos are consistent and up to a certain standard. Sometimes I have to go through 10, 15 takes because sometimes I say something wrong or something gets off. And again, you have to start over again and again. People don't know how much work goes into making one of these videos. They don't understand that, you start out, you put the camera on. It's not just you just starting to talk. It's about making sure that your head is in the right place. It's about making sure that your talking points are on point. It's about making sure that you're fulfilling the talking points of your argument. I mean, all of that is stuff I have to do off the top of my head, no scripts whatsoever. I never use a script. And again, that's a lot of pressure for a person to be in. And that's where I could relate to Kea Cole as related to her situation. I could relate to her situation because I understand the pressure this woman was under. I understand the stress this woman was under. I understand what it is to, again, work 7 days a week as related to things, because when you own a business, again, the workday doesn't end for you when the business closes. No, you're constantly working on things when you own something. When you own something, you really can't take that break as related to things, especially when you're starting out. Now, when you get further along in the business, you can start, again, delegating tasks and, again, setting goals for other people. But you still, again, as the owner, this is your business. And again, if you don't care about your business, other people aren't going to care. And that's the whole tough part about running a business is, again, you have to go out here and continue to push, even in periods like I have had with these sales slumps and dealing with these YouTube algorithm basically messing up my channel. Again, you have to continue pushing, and that can basically, again, take a toll on a person, take a toll on a person's physical health, because mentally they're trying to push past a situation, trying to get towards a big break, trying to move things forward. And you're trying to move things forward, but the whole thing is that your whole body can't take much anymore. Your body can't take much of this anymore, and eventually your body starts to break down. Eventually your body and your mind start to break down over time, because you're trying to, again, get yourself in a place of economic stability and economic security. And as you're trying to get yourself to a place of economic stability and economic security, your body, again, can't do this stuff like you want it. Again, the mind is willing, but the flesh becomes weak. The flesh needs rest. The flesh needs things. But the whole thing is you're trying to get to those things. You're trying to get to that space. And Kea Cole sadly couldn't get to that space. And it basically, as she tried to work towards her big break, she wound up breaking. And that's why this woman wound up passing away. Now, some want to debate about overworking, but these days, again, the entire job market and the business market is just so crazy, because a lot of people, again, have really ridiculous expectations. They have ridiculous and unrealistic expectations as related to business. And as people try to meet those standards, they push themselves so hard, push themselves so hard that they, instead of having the success they want, they just winding up in a grave. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, like those in the SJS Direct universe, such as the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, or my sorority novel, The Thetas, or my vampire novel, Eternal Night, or my men's issues books, or my books like The Man Crisis and The Woman Crisis, or Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. You can find all of those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me be able to make more videos and be able to stay on the air and move this business forward, you can drop a donation to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteem Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.